So what is going on, guys? NinjaPrince93 here with another video, and the new iPad Airs just dropped and they look amazing. I'm definitely gonna get one either in that lime green color or that light blue color to at least test it out and try it out. But I did want to let you guys know what the release of these iPad Airs really mean for the future of the iPad Pros. So let's get it going. So as you guys can see with the iPad Air in the background back there, that they essentially took an iPad Pro 11-inch, the 2018 version, took the body of it, revamped it, put new internals in it, and called it the iPad Air, or the new iPad Air. It's basically what Apple did with the iPhone SE, right? They took an old iPhone 8 body, and they basically revamped it, moved the logo a little bit, made the internals 2019, 2020 standard, and then that's what they released. And that's what they're doing with the iPad Air, right? And honestly, it's surprised a lot of people. It looks good. It has a new A14 Bionic chip, which is the first time that's been seen in any iOS device or any device period, which is very, very surprising to me, right? The fact that now there's an iPad Pro starting at $800 and an iPad Air starting at, what is it, $599 for the 64 gig? And the Air has the better chipset or the newer chipset. It's a little bit iffy, right? So that got me thinking a little bit as to what this means for the iPad Pro moving forward, right? Most of you guys know that I use the iPad Pro 2018 model, the 12.9-inch, 256 gigabyte. For those of you that thought I got rid of my Magic Keyboard is still right there. So now that I got that out of the way, but that's the iPad Pro that I use, and I've used that for the better part of 14, 15 months now. 15 months where I've been pretty much all iPad. And when the 2020 iPad Pro came out, obviously I purchased the item, I reviewed it, but then ended up getting rid of it because I just didn't see the need to have the iPad Pro 2020. It added the wide-angle camera, which was a novelty. Like, nobody's using the iPad Pro to take wide-angle cameras, or not a lot of people are. And then they had the LiDAR scanner, which LiDAR technology is great and all, for sure. I've seen some great applications of LiDAR being useful, especially for, people that don't have all of their senses, right? Like, I saw a very awesome application where it helped blind people navigate around because they could see obstacles in front of you, tell you that you're right in front of something, and tell you to move right or move left. That is an amazing thing that LiDAR can do. But on the iPad Pro, it's kind of weird. Yeah, they can use the power of the iPad Pro to maybe create cool applications, but it's just still a 12.9 or 11-inch tablet that you're holding to get stuff done. So I think LiDAR technology is very amazing. It's awesome, but it's better used in glasses when those start coming out, in iPhones, because it's a smaller form factor. So LiDAR is definitely the future, and it's probably going to stick around in Apple products, but for me, it wasn't enough of a reason to buy another $1,000 iPad Pro or $1,200 iPad Pro. And then again, it went from the A12X to the A12Z. It basically ignited one more GPU core, which again, I haven't seen any hiccups on my 2018. So again, it basically came down to, I did not think spending another $1,200 on an iPad Pro was worth it. So again, that got me thinking with this iPad Air announcement. Apple released a $600 iPad Air with an A14 Bionic chip. And Apple's still selling the 11-inch iPad Pro at $800 with the A12Z chip. So I'm thinking we're gonna get some sort of iPad Pro Max or Ultra, or some super heavy duty, from an internal standpoint, iPad Pro, something that's for the professional plus, right? I feel like something's gonna happen in October, November, because they can't have this be their iPad lineup for too long, because people are gonna be confused. Who's gonna buy an $800 iPad Pro when they can buy a $600 iPad Air with a better chipset? And physically it looks identical. Yeah, the screen and the bezels are probably a little bit thicker because you're going from the 11 to 10.86 inches. So it's probably going to be the iPhone XR or iPhone 11 effect in terms of the display, because they probably brought it in a little bit. But again, it looks identical. The body's identical, single camera, because they probably used, again, the body of an iPad Pro 2018. So again, the internals are using that 5-nanometer processor now. What was it, 11 trillion transistors? Those are things that are not on the iPad Pro, and for a product that's more expensive, it needs to be on the iPad Pro. So that is my opinion. I think we're going to get some sort of heavy-duty iPad Pro by the end of this year, maybe early next year, but for some reason the months of October and November are ingrained in my mind, because I think I saw Max Tech reference it months ago, and it makes sense, because that'll be 2 years from the third generation iPad Pro, which is when they adopted this new form factor. So all in all, that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're not going to see this lineup stay like this for a while. I think it's going to be a couple of months until we get a new iPad Pro, and it's going to be this heavy-duty, super powerful, super pro-level iPad Pro, which hopefully gives us the ability to use a secondary display, and only for that iPad Pro. And And then somebody actually also commented on Twitter, because I posted this, that Apple might just release the 12.9 iPad Pro moving forward and forget about that 11-inch one, because now the people that had the 11-inch iPad Pro can just start using iPad Airs, which I think is a pretty good idea. You know, just have the 13-inch or the 12.9-inch iPad Pro be the creme de la creme, you know, like the Note series of the iPads. It's funny that I keep using all these Samsung references, but I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see one heavy-duty, king-of-the-hill iPad Pro sometime at the end of this year, because it needs to happen, because it doesn't make sense for Apple to have a stronger, cheaper iPad Air than an 11-inch iPad Pro. But that's my 2 cents. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this was a little bit of a ramble, but leave your comments below. Are you guys getting the new iPad Air? Are you going to hold off and see if a new Pro is coming out? Are you going to return a 2020 iPad Pro for the Air because you just bought it? What are you guys going to do? I'm very curious to see what you guys have to see. Very curious to see what you guys have to say. And I appreciate you guys staying until the end. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to 15K here soon. I think we're pretty much right there. So hopefully by the time you're watching this, we're at 15K. So